Good morning, team. This is Miss Cashin. We're doing word study today. So right now you should have a pencil and your packet. Turn to word study Tuesday 324. So go ahead and grab a pencil if you don't have that yet, and then we'll jump into our word of the day. Get ready. Word of the day. 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 All right, so as usual, I'm going to hold up a sentence and you need to figure out what the underlined word is. He was scared to jump and hesitated at the end of the diving board. I was thinking about Jabari jumps this morning. He was scared to jump and hesitated at the end of the diving board. Take a second to think about what hesitate might mean. Write it down in your word study book. What do you think hesitate might mean? He was scared to jump, so he hesitated at the end of the diving board. All right, you should have your definition written down. If you hesitate, it means you pause because you're nervous. So if somebody hesitates before they start to speak, they go kind of like this. It's when you take that nervous pause because you're not sure what's going to happen next. So if you hesitate at the end of the board, that's like what Jabari did when he paused at the end and looked down because he was nervous. Hesitate, lock it in. All right, cool. So you should be, again, with your pencil on this word study page for Tuesday 324. Today we're going to go over how to match nouns and verbs. So this is something that most of us don't think about a ton because we just kind of automatically do it. But in every sentence, you need to make sure that the number of whatever noun you're talking about is the same as the number that's explained in the verb. This sounds way trickier than it actually is because for most people, it'll just make sense based on what sounds right and what doesn't sound right. So we need to make sure that all of our verbs actually match our subjects. So I made a little poster here. Let's check it out. The number of nouns must match the number of verbs in a sentence. So, for example, my teacher wears a suit. In the sentence, my teacher is the subject and it's the noun. My teacher. There's only one. Wears is the verb. And I know that it's a singular verb because there's an S on the end. That's really easy to remember because in my head I go like this. Singular. And then I don't forget. Now, this sentence is different. My teachers wear suits. In this, there's more than one teacher. I know because it says teachers, so that's a plural noun because there's more than one. Wear is a plural verb. Suits. If you look here, you can see that when a verb is matching a plural subject, it doesn't need an S on the end. But when the verb matches a singular subject, there is an S on the end. And the way that I remember that, usually verbs that match singular subjects and nouns have an S on the end, is I go like this. Singular. If it's a singular subject or a singular noun, you have to add an S on the end. All right, so our focus today is making sure that our nouns match, that our verbs match our nouns. It wouldn't make any sense to say, my teacher wear a suit, or my teachers wears suits. So you've got to make sure if it's singular, you add an S to the end of the verb. All right, let's jump into our work. Again, you should have your pencil. We're going to go to this page, 324. All right. Circle the verb that agrees with the noun. Color the boxes with singular nouns blue. Color the boxes with singular nouns blue. Color the boxes with plural nouns red. Now, I unfortunately don't have all the markers for that, but you can do that later after this video. Okay, so let's check it out. Here, our noun is the flower. Now, is that singular or plural? Yep, it's singular because there's just one. Now, would that match with smells or, oops, both of those are the same. With smell, sorry guys, that's my mistake, or smells. Well, I know that the flower is singular. So it's going to match with smells because I know I add on the S if it's singular. Josh and Tim. I noticed that there are two there. So is that singular or is it plural? It's plural because there's two of them. So what would make more sense? They walk or walks? Now I know it has an S on the end if it's singular, but that was plural. So it's walk. The cats. Singular or plural? Yep, plural, because there's more than one. So what would be correct? Play or plays? Play, because I know I only add the S when it's singular. The pigs. Singular or plural? Plural. So it would make more sense. Eat or eats? Eat. And that also makes sense because when I think about it, it sounds right. The pigs eat food, right? You don't say the pigs eats food. Max, singular or plural? Yep, there's only one. It's singular. So run or runs? Runs. I add the S on the end because it's singular. The class. Read. The class. Is that singular or plural? Well, I know there's a lot of people in it, but we're only talking about one class. It's not like all the classes in second grade. So I'm going to go ahead and put singular. Read or reads? Yep, it's singular, so it's reads. That makes sense because I would say out loud, the class reads books. Last one, the boy. Singular or plural? Yep, singular. And ride or rides his bike? Rides. And I know that because every time it's singular, I add an S on the end. Now this last thing says to write a sentence using the plural noun dogs. Make sure the verbs agree. So I'm going to give you a minute to write yours, and I will write mine. Remember, when it's singular, you have to add an S to the end of the verb. Go ahead, write your sentence. This is based on my own life. All right, finish up your sentence. Here's mine. The dogs fight and play before they eat my cake. That has 3 verbs, and none of them have S's on the end because for all of them, I'm talking about the plural noun, dogs. All right, let's move on to the next page. We're going on to 324, words that agree with the subject and pronoun. Now this is a little throwback to last week's lesson. Remember, pronouns are words that replace nouns, so you don't have to say the name or identify every single thing. Okay, but we're still going to be thinking about singular or plural. And if it's a singular noun, we have to add an S on the end. If it's plural, we do not. All right, let's go. They blank the classroom every day. Cleans or clean? They is talking about more than one person. That's plural. So it looks like my answer is clean. It blank like grandma over there. Now this is tricky because it doesn't say who it is, but I know it can only be one person. So that must be singular. So what do I match it with? It blank. It looks like grandma over there because it can only be one person. He blank at Mary whenever she walks by. Now there's a little key there. I know that this verb has an S on the end, and I know that we're talking about one person, so it has to be singular. So what do I do to the verb? I add an S. She blanked the little puppy. Frighten or frightens? Well, what subject or noun are we matching to? The word she. That's singular. So it has to be frightens, because I know I add an S if it's singular. They both blank the same car. Now, that's talking about they, which is plural. They both blank the same car. Must be drive, because it's not just talking about one person, it's talking about two. So it's plural. She blank the ball to Thomas. She throw the ball to Thomas, or she throws the ball to Thomas. She throws, because she is singular, so I have to add an S on the end. We blank the walls every 10 years. We, if I'm talking about we, I'm talking about me and some other people, so that must be plural. What do you think? Paint? Paints or paint? Yep, that has to be paint, because it's talking about all of us. They blank for their keys and gloves. They hunt or they hunts. They is the subject here. So it must be hunt, because there's more than one person looking. I blank the rules most of the time. I follows or I follow. Now that's a tricky one. That's singular. So it should, you would think it would say follows. But that's why I said most of the time, because the correct answer is actually follow. For the word follow, if you're using the word I, you're just going to say I follow instead of I follows. But if you're using a different singular pronoun or a singular verb, like the book follows the rules or he follows the leader, then you would add an S. But for the word I, it's actually follow. That's just a really tricky one. You got to kind of lock in your brain. If you're using the word I with the verb follow, it's just follow, not follows. That's why I always say most of the time, because it can't be true all of the time. Okay. Miss Dixon blank a lullaby to Kenzie. Sing or sings? Just one person, so it has to be sings. Miss Dixon sings a lullaby to Kenzie. All right, team, nice job today. As a reminder, our word of the day was hesitate. You can remind yourself of what that meant right here, so you can come up with a definition in your brain if you can remember. He was scared to jump and hesitated at the end of the board. Hesitate is when you pause because you're nervous. And sometimes if a kid raises their hand in class, they'll hesitate before they speak. They'll be like, and think about it in their head. So it's not always a bad thing. It's okay to hesitate, but it's just when you pause, you're a little nervous. So to review, today we talked about matching, making sure our verbs match the number of what's going on in our sentences. So if you have a singular noun, you have to have a singular verb that adds an S on the end. If you have a plural noun, you have to have a plural verb that doesn't have an S on the end. The exception to that is the word I. It wouldn't make sense to say I eats my lunch alone or I runs really fast. So if you're talking about yourself, if you're using the word I, you're not going to have an S on the end. And that's just a tricky thing in the English language. All right, great job, team. Have a great day.